guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tanya, and today I'm going to do a reaction video for you. Today's reaction was requested in my Discord. And if anyone's interested in joining, the Discord is completely free and it's linked below in the description and in the pinned comment. So if you're interested in joining, it's there. But this one was requested in Discord. This is by a channel called Eco Atlas. And the video is called "Where is the oldest rainforest in the world?" And spoiler alert, it's in Australia. I found that out. So we're gonna go ahead and check out information on the oldest rainforest in the world, which will be very cool to learn about. And Samara probably isn't gonna sit here the whole time because she's already wanting down, aren't you? Let me see here on my lap. Nope. There she goes. Also, I just realized that my dryer is still going, so if you can hear that in the background, I apologize because it's literally it's in the room right next to me right here. So I'm sorry if you can hear that, but if it's too distracting, I will edit that out like during the video portion of this.
Whenever thinking of Australia, I often picture koalas, red desert, and just something dry and arid, full of kangaroos. What I don't picture are tropical rainforests, because those only exist in the Amazon, Southeast Asia, and Africa, right? Well, I was proven wrong. When I was doing my research on ecoregions, I found out that Australia actually has the oldest surviving tropical rainforest in the world.
There's actually rainforest in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains too. If you're interested in looking that up, it's pretty neat.
So this had me wondering, what are they like? Why do they exist just here? What animals call it home? What plant species are here? What bird species are here? What is its climate like? The Queensland tropical rainforests exist on the northeast coast of Australia. You guessed it, Queensland. These rainforests cover 3 separate chunks of land, with the north, middle, and southern portion. The northern portion is the largest, at 20,000 square kilometers. It stretches 400 kilometers down the coast and on average 15 to 65 kilometers inland, from Cooktown to Townsville City. The middle portion covers 13,000 square kilometers, stretching 300 kilometers down the coast and on average 30 to 70 kilometers inland, from Bowen to Clairview. And the southernmost... I'm gonna have to, when I'm editing this, put in the like the miles for that, because I don't know kilometers, you know, so I'll put that on here when I'm editing. Portion is the smallest at 2,000 square kilometers. It extends about 50 kilometers inland and covers 75 kilometers worth of coast just north of Yeppoon. Altogether, these forests cover 750 kilometers of Australia's coast, on average going 50 kilometers inland from the sea for an area of 35,000 square kilometers. Wow. Covering 0.5% of Australia's total land area. The lines on how to define a rainforest are gray. However, the most common definition is a consistent closed canopy forest and receiving a minimum of 1,500 millimeters of rain a year, or 5 feet of rain. While Australia does have other rainforests, such as the rainforest in Tasmania or the Gondwana rainforest on the southeast coast, they are temperate in nature because they are south of the Tropic of Capricorn. The Queensland rainforests, however, are the only tropical rainforests here, north of the Tropic of Capricorn, being in the eastern shadow of Australia's Great Dividing Range, which is a 3,500 kilometer long range of mountains and rolling hills. These Queensland's rainforests benefit from the orographic effect. With the trade winds constantly blowing the ocean's moisture towards Australia, the moisture gets trapped by the mountains, where the precipitation then falls as rain. A notable peak in this range is Mount Bartle Frere at 5,321 feet in elevation, or 1,622 meters. It is the tallest mountain in Queensland. These mountains rise very quickly from the coast, with flat plains and low hills suddenly rising to peaks of 1,000 to 1,500 meters in elevation over the span of just a few kilometers. And while the other areas of Queensland also benefit from the trade winds and the precipitation, it's a lot more seasonally, often receiving no rain in the winter, creating the tropical savannas that surround these forests on all sides. These areas on average, receive 1,500 millimeters of rain a year. So that's a check mark for the rain.
I know that in Queensland, that's where you're going to find the saltwater crocodiles and stuff. So I'm curious, is the rainforest area where you'll find most of them? Like, are they hanging out in the rainforest, because crocodiles like swamps and stuff, so I would assume that they would hang out in the rainforest.
Forest, with the wettest area around Innisfil receiving over 3,000 millimeters annually, or over 10 feet of rain in a year. Winter and spring are the driest seasons here, receiving 100 to 300 millimeters of rain each season, or 4 to 12 inches. It is the summer, the wet season, where these really thrive, receiving over 8 to 1,200 millimeters of rain, or 2.5 to 4 feet for the summertime. And in the fall, the rains start to fall off again, receiving 400 to 1,200 millimeters in this season, or 16 inches to 4 feet. These rains find their way down the mountains among the...
One of the Aussies in my Discord was actually telling me yesterday that the Brisbane area right now is about to get hit with, I guess you call it a cyclone there, but we call it a hurricane. But you guys are about to get hit with that like Friday, I think they said. So hopefully everybody is prepared as they can be for that. I've never been through a hurricane before because I don't live on the coast. Where I live, we get tornadoes. And so it's very different because like tornadoes just hit out of nowhere and there is no preparation time. Whereas with a hurricane, you at least have days and stuff to kind of get ready for it. So I can't even imagine what that would be like. But I hope you guys all stay safe.
Any small drainage basins in the area. Being in the northernmost tip of Australia, it benefits from the tropical temperatures. With a mean temperature of 24 Celsius, the temperatures dip with an average low of 12 Celsius during the winter and peak at a max average of 30 Celsius during the summers, leaving it very warm. The combination of heat and rain leaves it with a hot, humid climate.
Humidity, yeah.
Perfect for rainforests. This forest is the oldest rainforest in the world, surviving since 180 million years ago.
That's so cool.
It's older than the Congo, the Amazon, and the Southeast Asian rainforests, having some of the last remnants of an ancient Gondwanan forest. This forest was once spread across the continent of Gondwana. However, as the supercontinent split, it went into 3 chunks. The forests of South America evolved into temperate rainforests and steppe at Patagonia. Antarctica froze over, and as Australia kept moving north, this pocket of rainforest managed to keep in that tropical zone while the rest of Australia dried out.
It's so cool that they can figure this stuff out.
Of this once massive forest. The Queensland tropical rainforests are very similar to the rainforests of Papua New Guinea, but differ in a few important ways. The Australian forests tend to have much more ancient plant species. There's more seasonality in the rainfall. They're less vast in their size, but are much more unique in their marsupial species. But why are they so similar? Well, throughout time, and especially during the ice ages, Papua New Guinea and Australia were once connected by an area known as Sahul, as recently as 8,000 years ago. And this land bridge enabled some animal species, plant species, bird species, you name it, to move back and forth. While it wasn't open for very long, they still retain their diversity from each other, but will share some species such as the cassowary. This forest contains many ancient plant species.
I just did a video yesterday on the cassowary, so if you're interested, it's up if you want to watch it. Learned a lot about cassowaries.
Anywhere else in the world, such as some species of cycads, existing for over 200 million years. They resemble palms, but bear their seeds in cones, similar to conifers. They also contain tree ferns, with some species reaching up to 50 feet in height, with a 12-inch thick trunks, and ferns reaching up to 6 feet long, which thrive in the understory. There's also the king fern living here, with fronds reaching up to 30 feet in length.
That's so pretty.
They are the largest ferns in the world. As well, there's the fan palm, which also reaches 50 feet in height, with leaves up to 6 feet in diameter. They're essentially trees in themselves.
I've never seen that.
Speaking of trees, there are over 920 tree species here, such as the red cedar, reaching up to 200 feet in height with a 10-foot thick trunk reaching into that emergent layer. There's the spurwood, which reaches up to
Ooh.
115 feet in height with its buttress roots. The Corey pine, which reaches 160 feet. And finally, the idiot fruit tree.
Did he say idiot fruit? I'm going to rewind this for 1 second.
There's the spurwood, which reaches up to 115 feet in height with its buttress roots.
This photo right here, that literally looks like California. That's what California looks like. We just don't have anything like that here in Illinois. It's pretty.
The pine, which reaches 160 feet. And finally, the idiot fruit tree, which is evolutionally similar to the oldest flowering plants, which evolved 120 million years ago. It is the last of its kind. But why is it called the idiot fruit tree?
Why is it called that?
Its Latin name means individuality, referring to how unique it was. And over time, it just got badly translated to idiot. This forest also contains many epiphytes, which are plants that grow on the surface of other plants, such as orchids, moss, and lichens. Trees are often covered in vines and lianas as well. Similar to the plants, the 100+ mammal species here are unique and many are primitive, with 11 of these species being found nowhere else but these forests, such as the endemic musky rat kangaroo, which is the smallest kangaroo species, weighing in at just 1 pound, and it is the most primitive of all kangaroos, hopping on all fours, similar to rabbits. There's the coppery brush-tailed possum, the northern greater glider, the red-legged...
Speaking of possums, the Backyard Naturalist has a video on Australian possums that I thought about doing a reaction to. So let me know if you'd be interested in that, because I know that your guys' possums are different than our possums. And for some reason, Americans are very confused about American possums. Like, they think that they can hurt you. They think that they'll attack you. They think that they have rabies, and they literally do not. And I know that Australia doesn't have rabies, so I know that your possums wouldn't have rabies. But like, people think that American possums have rabies, and they don't. All they're there for is to eat all the bugs in your yard and that sort of thing, which is a good thing. But anyway, I'm interested in doing a reaction to the Australian possum. So if you're interested in that, let me know. But these things are so cute.
Patamelon, the Lumholtz tree kangaroo, which is the smallest of the tree kangaroos, Bennett's tree kangaroo, and the northern quail, which is the smallest of the 4 quail species.
Cute.
There are over 370 bird species that visit this region, with 13 of those strictly endemic to these rainforests. These include the golden bowerbird, the lesser sooty owl, Victoria's riflebird, and pied monarch. There are other eye-catching birds living here as well, including the black butcherbird.
In all the bird videos that I've done, I don't think that anyone has focused on or talked about a pied monarch that I remember. I should do a video on those. Those are cute.
The buff-breasted paradise kingfisher, the metallic starling, and of course,
oh my God, those eyes are
the most famous bird here, which is the endangered southern cassowary. It is the largest of the 3 cassowary species, weighing on average 130 pounds and coming in at 5 feet tall, making it the 3rd largest bird in the world. It is shorter, but stockier than the emu. They're pollinators of the rainforest, eating fallen fruit and seeds, then dispersing them around.
I said yesterday in the cassowary video, emus scare me more than the cassowary. They do, because they're bigger and their beaks are bigger, their faces are scarier looking. And I know that the cassowaries are like more dangerous. And people were explaining to me in the comments that it's their claw. They're like, I forgot how long they said it was, so many inches long of a claw that can just debowel you. That's fucking gross and really scary. But I am still more afraid of an emu because they're just so big and intimidating.
And their feces. The reptiles and amphibians living here include the green tree python, the saltwater crocodile, the frilled neck lizard, the northern leaf-tailed gecko, prickly forest skink, and the white-lipped tree frog, which is the world's largest tree frog at 5 inches in length.
Wow.
And this area is a butterfly hotspot as well, with Australia's largest butterfly.
Okay, this is gonna sound really weird. And I've only ever met like 1 or 2 other people who feel the same way as I do, but butterflies freak me out. Do butterflies creep anybody else out? I don't know what it is about them, but they really creep me out. I don't know.
The Cairns birdwing, which has up to a 6-inch wingspan, residing here, along species such as the Ulysses butterfly and the red lacewing. This is a biodiversity hotspot and one of the top centers for endemic life globally in just this tiny chunk of land. Two unique areas that I kept noticing during my research of this area included the Daintree Rainforest, which is a national park famous for being the oldest rainforest in the world, and Cape Tribulation, where rainforest meets the beach and the beach meets the Great Barrier Reef, jungle biodiversity and ocean biodiversity meeting along these shores, making it a really cool spot. These forests' current range is very limited to the rainfall. At this point, these are the only areas receiving this much rain, which is why it's important to protect it, because it won't find anywhere else. And speaking of protection, it is very highly protected. While agriculture and urban development do threaten this area, it is still one of the most preserved ecoregions in the world. Over 40% of this ecoregion is protected under national parks and forest reserves, such as the Daintree National Park, the Coombalumba National Park,
Coombalumba,
and the Karoonda Forest Reserve.
That's a fun word. Hang on, I'm gonna rewind it.
For 40% of this ecoregion is protected under national parks and forest reserves, such as the Daintree National Park, the Coombalumba National Park.
Coombalumba National Park. I want to go there just so I can be like, I went to Coombalumba National Park. That is a fun word.
And the Karoonda Forest Reserve. These forests are protected under law, and their conservation efforts are funded by a growth.
I've been on one of those trams in the Smoky Mountains before. Those are so cool. If you ever get a chance to do something like that, oh my God, it's so cool.
Ecotourism industry. Australia is not simply grassland and desert with some forests on the edges, as I thought. I had no idea there was such an incredibly unique and ancient rainforest here. It is home to species found nowhere else. Some really big old birds and some plants that have existed since the dinosaurs. The Queensland rainforests are a living fossil. And even though this area is less than 0.5% of Australia's landmass, over 40% of Australia's species call it home.
Wow.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you want to see some more ecoregions of the world. And until then, see you next time. Thank you.
That was a really interesting video. That is so cool. It looks like a very beautiful area. And I assume since it's a national park, there's national parks there, that it is a place that is visited a lot and a lot of tourists go to, I would assume. But it's very beautiful. I would just be so afraid of running into a crocodile. I don't want to run into a crocodile. Those things scare me. I'll take an emu over a crocodile, honestly. But I'll take a crocodile over a snake. I know that makes me sound really crazy, but like I have a phobia of snakes. I can't do it. Anyway, that was a really interesting video and I learned a lot. So thank you so much for the suggestion. If you guys have any other cool suggestions, go ahead and let me know. You can let me know in the Discord if you want. There's a whole section for suggestions. And like I said, it's free. And also I do have a wish list if anybody is interested. People have asked about like PO boxes and stuff, and I don't have a PO box. But I do have a wish list and it's also linked below. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and I'll see you next time.